Netflix has not acquired Warner Brothers Discovery. There is no announced deal. But the question matters anyway, because it reveals where power in streaming is trying to move and how far platforms are willing to go to control the next phase of the industry. This is not about a transaction. It's about who controls creativity in a mature digital market. Streaming is no longer in its growth phase. Subscriber expansion has slowed. Content costs keep rising. Licensing has become unpredictable and expensive. Netflix built global scale first. Warner built one of the deepest content libraries in entertainment history. A potential acquisition represents a structural answer to this tension. Platform and studio, operating as a single system. For audiences, the upside seems obvious. Warner controls some of the most iconic intellectual property in entertainment. Game of Thrones, Harry Potter, the DC Universe, including Batman and Superman, and decades of classic film and television. Inside Netflix, these properties would not just be hosted, they would be continuously activated. That could mean new seasons of series that already ended, spin-offs, alternate storylines, and global reboots optimized for engagement data. Some fans would welcome that. Others would see it as forced reinvention, a dilution of cultural legacy. The key shift is this. Classic content becomes a programmable asset, not a finished work. IP stands for intellectual property. In media, IP includes characters, story universes, brands, and the rights to sequels, remakes, and adaptations. Whoever controls the IP controls how often stories return, in what form, and for which audiences. That's why IP, not technology, is the most valuable asset in entertainment. The concern here is not monopoly, it's monopsony. A monopoly dominates consumers. A monopsony dominates suppliers. If Netflix controlled the largest global streaming platform and one of the largest content studios, creators would no longer compete primarily for audiences. They would compete for access to one dominant buyer. That shifts bargaining power, pricing, and creative risk-taking. This is why governments step in, not to protect viewers, but to protect the creative market itself. This dynamic is not unique to streaming. In books, Amazon controls distribution, data, and increasingly publishing. Regulators focus on its power as a buyer over authors and publishers. In music, Spotify controls distribution and discovery, shaping how artists are paid and promoted. In agriculture, large buyers dictate terms to fragmented producers. In each case, the issue is not innovation, it's buyer power. For Warner, the upside is stability, guaranteed global distribution, predictable monetization, reduced balance sheet pressure, and access to Netflix's data engine. The trade-off is autonomy. Creative decisions would increasingly optimize for retention, engagement, and platform economics. Independence would be exchanged for certainty. Ironically, concentration can create opportunity elsewhere. Smaller studios may gain regulatory protection. Alternative platforms can position themselves as creator-first. Theatrical-focused players can differentiate on experience, not scale. Power rarely ends competition. It reshapes it. This scenario is not about total domination. It's about whether total control still creates advantage. Netflix won the last decade by staying light, staying fast, and deliberately designing transitions. Full vertical integration adds power, but it also adds weight. The real risk is not regulation. It's losing the flexibility that made Netflix win. The Netflix-Warner question is not about whether a deal could happen. It's about how much control is too much in an industry built on creativity. In mature markets, balance matters more than dominance.